I think that we're all interested in having in the re-enchantment of the universe. We want to feel that there are transcendent things out there that we're not aware of and that bode good for the human race somehow. I think this is just a natural human feeling.
But what really fascinates me as a defense journalist is that you are as likely to find believers in UFOs among the higher reaches of the aerospace industry as you are in Hollywood. This is a report into future technology commissioned in 1968 by McDonnell Douglas, then one of the biggest aerospace and defense contractors in the world. What's extraordinary about this document is that it takes the existence of UFOs seriously. It recommends using UFOs and copying their design to make the next quantum leap in aerospace technology.
Some UFOs may be extraterrestrial vehicles. They certainly have not been proven otherwise. The existence of extraterrestrial vehicles indicates vehicles could be built which would have capabilities quite useful to McDonnell Douglas Corporation.
The report even suggested interviewing contactees to gather data. And if they were thinking that over 25 years ago, what advances might be on the horizon today?
I'm here in Seattle to meet someone who's built a device in the basement of his garage, indeed is flying it there, that he and others claim is able to do so by defying our current understanding of physics. As unlikely as it sounds, I'm wondering whether what I'm about to witness may just be our first small step towards the stars.
This strange device is made of balsa wood and glue and covered in a layer of aluminium foil.
So Tim, tell me, why is this lifter demonstrating this levitational effect?
Well, there's an interaction that occurs between the corona wire, which runs around the top, and the foil underneath.
Yeah.
And there's a 3 to 4 centimeter air gap in between there, and literally a high voltage electric field occurring. Now, there's been some controversy. Is this an ion wind effect? Is it the high voltage literally taking air molecules with it and creating an upward thrust? Or is it something more?
Nobody knows for sure how the lifter flies, but one popular theory is that high voltage current flows between the wires, suspended on the top of the craft, through the air, down to the aluminium foil wrapped around the frame. The current literally drags air molecules down with it, creating a downforce called an ion wind, which provides the thrust needed to lift the airframe skywards.
This technology, not just the lifter, but this whole scope of technologies, is almost like looking at the internal combustion engine back in the 1800s. We're trying to take it and say, look, these are real technologies. They have the same flaws that any other technology does, but hopefully they can do things that other technologies can't.
So do you think what we're watching here could be the modest beginnings of a whole new industry?
Yeah, I think the lifter is literally sort of like the tricycle. And it may not end up becoming the technology that builds the starships of tomorrow, but it at least shows us that given the right circumstances, given the right power, it will work.
I'm nearing the end of my journey, and I feel as if I've come full circle. Because what Tim Ventura's lifter reminds me of is the Nazis' secret experiment in anti-gravity propulsion I discovered in the Wenceslas mine. So what's the truth about UFOs? The story of successive attempts to develop radically new forms of flight, conducted under the strictest secrecy, is inextricably bound up with our relationship with UFOs over the last 60 years. Whether it's Allied pilots buzzed by strange balls of fire in 1942 or the Roswell incident 5 years later, there is a strong case to be made that secret military technology offers a convincing explanation for many UFO stories. For me, what is so striking about Roswell is that it's the first good example of an officially sanctioned UFO disinformation exercise. It showed the CIA that UFOs could provide perfect cover for their Cold War activities. It didn't take much for the CIA to spin the extraterrestrial story into the hearts and minds of the American public. And once it was there, all manner of experimental technology could, if it was spotted, be put down to the UFO phenomenon. But there are some cases that I just can't explain. The sightings of UFO Hill in 1952 are still baffling. And Tom Hanley's aerial encounter remains as testimony to the possibility we are not alone. What is certain is that real-world UFOs, the man-made ones, continue to develop. Recently, a series of sonic booms were heard exploding across California and Nevada. Something was in the sky that could be heard and felt, but not seen. Some informed observers, and I'm one of them, believe it was an aircraft traveling at several thousand miles per hour, a secret project known as Aurora. There is no trace of Aurora's physical existence, no evidence of government spending on its development or deployment. But there are tantalizing images that point to its existence. Pictures, for example, like this one. It shows a donut-shaped exhaust pattern, a sign perhaps that Aurora makes use of something called a pulse detonation wave engine. And it delivers a hell of a punch, easily enough power to drive an aircraft to 6 times the speed of sound. But perhaps the most intriguing are these images. This is a weather satellite image that shows a very interesting contrail originating out of Area 51 in Nevada and moving all the way across the United States, out over the Atlantic, on across Europe, and into Russia and China. Whatever it is, it's moving in excess of 8,000 miles an hour. If it is the contrail of a high-altitude hypersonic aircraft, in my book it's the best evidence yet that Aurora is real. And Aurora's flights will probably give birth to a new wave of UFO sightings. Because whether aliens exist or not, many of us want to believe in them. Perhaps the only way we will ever find out for sure is if we make the leap into deep space ourselves. That day may come sooner than we expect.
If UFOs and alien abductions fascinate you and you'd like to find out more, visit channel4.com/science. Next, from aliens to alienation, when Grace gets upset by a baying mob in Big Brother.